Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I guess I gave this a fair shot, right? I mean, I watched it. It's a movie that I've heard a lot of good things about. People are saying it was good, so I decided to watch Immaculate.
Come on, Jason. Come on, bitch. Haha! You dumb fuck.
Immaculate is a 2024 film that was directed by Michael Mohan. And besides the fact that people were saying good things about it, that's partially why I decided to watch this. I mostly watched this for Sydney Sweeney. Now, before you say, of course, everybody loves Sydney Sweeney. She's hot as hell. Everybody's talking about her. She feels like she's popping up everywhere in recent months. And all of that's kind of true. But I don't really have any thoughts of Sydney Sweeney other than the fact that, like, people talk about her. I guess she's on the TV show Euphoria, but I've never seen it. Maybe she's good on that. I don't know. But I only first saw her from Madam Web. Not exactly the greatest touchstone on trying to decide if she's a good actress or not. In fact, if I'm just going off of that movie, I would say no. But this film, I said, well, let me see if she shows me something different. And probably the first 5 to 10 minutes, I realized maybe this isn't the movie for me to try to gauge whether or not Sydney Sweeney is this great actress, because the plot is Sydney Sweeney plays this character, Cecilia. She is an American who comes to Italy to join this church as a nun in training because she wants to sort of figure out her life's purpose, right? When she was younger, she almost died, almost drowned. After being declared dead for a few minutes, she came back to life and sort of realized that, well, maybe God brought me back. Maybe all of what I'm here for is connected to God and religion and whatnot. In the first 15 or so minutes, this felt like another typical nun horror film or a horror film connected to churches. And like, I feel like I've seen 3 or 4 over the last year horror films that were connected to churches or nuns or anything of that sort. So I thought, okay, this is painfully unoriginal. It's a lot of the same jump scares, a lot of the same, oh no, the main character's having nightmares and dreams and seeing images, and everyone around her is acting sketchy as fuck, and it would make you obviously think, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because people aren't acting normal. So I just thought, I don't know if I want to sit through an hour and a half of this. And then I started to think, well, why did people say such good things about this movie? Is it just because Sydney Sweeney's hot? And then there came sort of a twist very early on that revealed that even though she's never had sex, even though she's still a virgin, she gets pregnant. And they all kind of think, oh, well, this is a miracle. It must be. Maybe this is some higher purpose. This is why you're here. This is why God saved you. And then that's when I thought, okay, now the movie's different. I'm not saying it's better or that it got better, but I said, I'm at least curious as to where this is going to go. And let me say first, Sydney Sweeney, she's good. She is. I'm not going to say this is the greatest performance I've ever seen in my life, because it really is kind of restrictive given the role that she has. And then especially when she becomes pregnant, it almost forces her to rely on these other characters at the church that you may or may not should trust. And so she's a lot more vulnerable than I think she would have been in any other position. But there are several points in the film, the very, very end especially, like the last few minutes, where things really ramp up. And there's a scene where she's just having to scream for, if you see it, obvious reasons. And I thought to myself, okay, she's good, right? Like, at least in a straightforward horror film where nothing's really happening, I will say that Sydney Sweeney is a good actress. So, not that she needed my approval, not that she probably gives a fuck that I am saying this, but I will say that there is at least something here. I would like to see her in a better movie though. Even like a better horror film if she does ever do horror again. Because a lot of these actresses, like right when they first start getting hot, they did a horror movie. It's always a horror movie. Right before then, I remember Jennifer Lawrence, Amanda Seyfried. I could probably name a few more of like, why did they do this horror movie? Oh, but it's because this was made right before their big breakout role that preceded it. Some of the other casts, you have Alvaro Morti. I probably butchered this guy's name, but he plays like the father of the church. And at first, he comes across as a genuine dude, a nice dude, a guy who's there for her, a guy who's looking out for her, a guy who I felt like, okay, if nothing else, this guy seems all right. Of course, that may not have been exactly true. There's another actress, I forget the character's name, but the actress is played by Simona Tabasco. And at first, I really liked her. She had a few scenes with Sydney Sweeney where she was bonding with her, she was befriending her, she was making jokes with her, and sort of making her feel at ease when everyone else was being creepy. And so I said, all right, I like this girl. She has a messed up past that probably led to why she's at this church in the first place. And I thought, well, maybe she will be the one lone person that will be there for her when shit really hits the fan. But no, because I want to say halfway through the film, she sort of is like figuring out that stuff is going on. She's about to tell Sydney Sweeney. And then they grab her, the nuns do. And before you know it, Sydney Sweeney from afar watches her get strapped down to a chair and they cut her tongue out. And I thought, well, that's really fucking lame, but at least she's not dead. And then you don't see her for the rest of the movie until the very, very end when Sydney Sweeney is trying to escape and she finds her dead body there. And I'm like, well, what a fucking waste of that character. That fucking sucked. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of just your typical situations of everybody being creepy to Sydney Sweeney, her having to react to it. Because she's pregnant, it's not as easy for her to get out of there. There was a part of me that was thinking, and I'm not going to pretend like it would be easy, but I thought, try to sneak out, right? She says she needs to leave. She should go to a real hospital. They're withholding her. So I'm like, get the hell out of there. She does something very smart as far as trying to get out of there. It doesn't 100% work, but I appreciated that she tried to do said thing. And the last 15 minutes or so, that's where the horror or the gore, the violence really ramped up. That's where you start to see people getting killed and heads getting smashed in and bodies getting burned. I thought, if nothing else, they did go practical. They did try to do something. But honestly, script-wise, plot-wise, story-wise, they had a decent premise that could have gone places. And maybe that's why people are giving it credit, because it does try to do something different with the premise. But honestly, at the end of the day, I wasn't blown away. I wasn't sitting here going, my God, what a great horror film. I kind of thought, another one. Another religion, church-based horror film that I kind of seen, and I have seen done better. I think certain aspects of it, I'll probably try to not be the worst critic in the world, although I am begging for a halfway decent horror film. This one, I'll say Netflix and chill, especially if you like Sydney Sweeney. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too saw Immaculate. What do you think of it? And what do you think of Sydney Sweeney? Is there a movie, or should I just watch Euphoria? Is there something else that better shows her talents? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.